So, welcome to another Final Fantasy Randomizer VOD review. In this series, we've been taking a look at new players or new-ish players who have been working on their runs, and we're trying to take a look at what they can improve, what's happening. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Tetron. Sorry about that. So today we're looking at um, Tetron's Duck Derby Week 4 run, which focuses on two loose flag sets with slightly higher encounters, slightly higher scaling. Um, a couple notes about the flags. In general, these are going to favor fighter comps. However, black belts are definitely viable depending on how difficult Temple of Fiends Revisited is and how late you find the loose. So the earlier you find the loose items, the better off the black belts are going to be. I believe this flag set is not the Duckling Derby itself. It's just that flag set. So correct me if I'm wrong. So we don't really know, but going in blind, a fighter comp's going to look good. Now there's definitely a couple different ones that I would be considering. Fighter red red black, fighter red black black, fighter rainbow, all viable. Oh, this is the actual derby. Okay, so I do know what's going to happen here, but I don't know how you did it, of course. And yeah, let's check out what's going on. So Fighter Thief Red Black also viable here, and I think like a black belt White Black Black or black belt, or sorry, no, not black belt Oreo, but like a black belt Red Black, like a three-man party with black belts is probably what you want to go for. So it's a little bit more of a walking grind and a little bit less of a like static grind for the black belt for quite so long, just because the EXP scaling's not there, and you just don't have time against the fighter comps to spend like 10 minutes just on a grind. So it looks like you're going with Fighter Rainbow, and I think this is a totally fine party. Now, Fighter Rainbow, I've talked about this in the past, but I believe that Fighter Rainbow at a competitive level is actually a three-man comp in disguise. And that just means that it's a three-person composition, but we don't know what our three-person composition is yet. So it might be Fighter Red Black, or it might be Fighter Red White, or it might be Fighter, very rarely Fighter Black White. It's usually Fighter Red something. I guess if the Red Mage has nothing, like let's say Fade is in slot 2, and you need fast for the black mage, then maybe it's fighter black white. Now the downside with this party is that it tends to have trouble running, so you tend to have to kill things rather than run, and that's just a strategic adjustment you have to make. If you run this as a four person, it's good, but the fighter can be a little bit lower level than you want it to be. So that's just a note. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, yeah, this might be the actual races you were sitting for a little bit here. And we'll play it at 1.5 times speed to begin with, and then we'll up it to 2 times as we get a little bit more into the race, and then maybe slow it down again for Temple of Fiends Revisited, as I do know that the Temple of Fiends Revisited caused some particular strife in this flag set. Um, Slightly faster to go left there, but that's minor. Okay, so right off the bat, exit's White Mage only, so that's a really good reason to keep the White Mage up. And heal 3, of course, is Red Mage and White Mage learnable, so I like heal 3 in slot 1 there for the White Mage. I think that's where you put it. So quick off the bat, one small adjustment I would make to your routing is I would be checking the armor shots. Chain armor is broken, especially with Blursing. Getting some early armor on your knight is a priority. And also, I would not be buying pures and softs on the first go around. Instead, what I'd be doing is looking for perhaps a single cabin, as you are going to be checking the chests in Temple of Fiends Revisited, or ideally a single tent. And then buying pures and softs after you clear out Temple of Fiends Revisited. So that way you can buy 10 and 1 instead of, 0, 2 or something. So Quad X is definitely going to be able to take care of Garland no problem at this scaling. Um, yeah. Okay, so you bought one pier, but you bought 3 cabins. Okay, that's totally fine. Sorry, I thought for some reason those weren't cabins. I thought those were something else. I guess one pier is totally fine. Most of the time, if I get poisoned, I'm just like, whatever. Either reset if it's before Temple of Fiends Revisit, or just wait until the character dies. I like that decision. And that's one of the benefits of having that early tent, so. Yeah, NPC Guillotine doesn't work in here. To prevent you from NPC guillotining the orb. Okay, so bridge, canal, canoe. No ship, though. This is a pretty easy Provoca play. Depending on your gold, you can stop at Matoya, and you do have free cabins. The run off the power cycle is okay, because you got all the ways to Temple of Fiends Revisit. Oh, no, you didn't even. Maybe the third encounter or something is okay. But, yeah. That's up to you. I think you could or could not stop in Matoyas, depending on what you're looking for. Oh, don't forget to reset out after you save. It's just a little bit faster than walking out. Hopefully, so far so good, though. I can see a huge amount of improvement, obviously. Okay, yep, cool. This is a nice play. When you have an encounter so fast off the, like, after you tent, I would just power cycle as soon as I see anything, but good. Nice pathing. I mean, obviously you took an extra step, but once you remembered that the canoe, you did save all those free steps, so that's really nice. Money is great. That's exactly what you're coming here for. Oh, don't forget, when you're going back to Provoca, unless you're going to go to Canaria, you actually want to head right from there. Yeah, well, it's because you like it's kind of an odd route, but yeah, like you can just cut across that way. It's very minor though. Um, ooh, this is nasty. I was gonna say something about your hammer equip, but it is gonna come in handy here. I guess one other small optimization is when you're in an encounter-free zone, don't equip stuff until you finish the entire zone. It just saves you like opening the menu one more time, for example. And you can also like finalize your decision as you're opening the chest and then just execute on it rather than like executing on each item. I also do this in larger chest banks like, Sky 3, for example. So you should be checking magic first here. Yep. Nice. So yeah, that money really paying off here. Of course, you would have been able to buy Fire 3 regardless, but being able to shop in one go on this side is a big time save. Not a huge reason to save there, but minor. If you're racing spells at, perhaps, you skip that save, but because you should still have one charge of level 2 magic from your level 2 on Garland, so unless you're worried about dying. But you have two casters, not just one. Hey Gregory, how's it going? Am I doing a co-op race? What do you mean? Oh, I'm not. Oh, I didn't change my stream title, did I? Okay, fine, fine, fine. I need to change my stream title. Uh, Duckling VOD review. Too loose with Tetron. Okay. Thank you, Gregory. Sorry about that. False advertising for the current Double Dragon champions of the world. Okay, so this is a really critical decision here. I don't know. Actually, I know I do know what I would do, but it's tricky. With warp, um, that doesn't make me want to go to ice. What I would probably do is navigate the river systems. If I could encounter minute them, if I had save items here, I would navigate the river systems to Crescent Lake, and then navigate from Crescent Lake to Elfland, and then do Marsh Cave, then Dwarves, and then back around. So kind of like do a double loop. But I think walking this way to potentially Marsh and Elfland is also totally fine. You're on a hot streak right now in Double Dragons? I'm pretty sure that you guys were 0 and something, and then, something changed about the team, and now it's undefeated. Oh, also, yeah, you also just beat Caleb too. Okay, fair enough. Puff is officially on a hot streak. That was a good race. The double anti-big O is interesting. Yeah, okay, so let's talk quickly about paranoid about the river system. The river system is dangerous if you can't counter manipulate it and if you don't have a way to kill the enemies. You actually do have a way to kill the most dangerous enemies there, which are the Hydras, because you have Quad X, so you can kill them. The Caribs are a bit of a problem, but they usually don't kill you unless they have spells. So like if Caribs immediately punch you down, then that's a problem. But without Caribs, you're okay, and you can kill the Hydras with Quad X in most cases. So the river systems aren't that bad. Crescent Lake is a free item. Marsh is an item. Ice Cave is an item. That's kind of what your considerations are at this point. Volcano's kind of out of the question unless you want to just clear the armory for some money and for potentially a spike tile to get a few levels. Um, my preference would probably be to do the river systems if I could get some cabins and tents to go to Crescent Lake and then just walk over to Elfland, so that way I can check magic before I go to Marsh. But you already have all the magic for Marsh. You have Warp and Fire 3, so it's totally justified to go this way as well. It's just Provoca and Marsh Cave, which is where I'm actually trying to get to, are kind of equidistant, like they're on opposite sides. And if I can go through Crescent Lake and get an incentive item on the way rather than going through Dwarves, which is just 2 chests, I would rather do Crescent Lake. Um, yeah, if running out of money, that's totally fair. So like, it makes sense. Just something to consider. I don't think this is wrong by any stretch. And like, if I was commenting on it, I'm more like just going through some ideas rather than saying like this was strictly a mistake. This is something that I have been noticing though. I would before level 6 just kill ogres and creeps with fire 3, unless you're planning on going directly into marsh, which I think is unlikely. Oh no, you have 10 tents. Yeah, you definitely could have done that river system. But anyways, that's not that important. Like also like kill this. Yeah, you're not even level 4. You're not even like level 5 yet. You can easily take some fights here and then just go stop by Elfland before you hit Marsh. But yeah, you did have tents, so you could have done the Crescent Lake play. I have like pushed a lot for not hitting the river system early, but I'm specifically saying don't go into Ice Cave at level 5. It's not like don't go through the river systems to Crescent Lake, kill Peds for, 2 minutes, and then go to Marsh. Okay, level 6. Perfect. This is exactly where you want to be. So yeah, we go stop by Elfland. Maybe check level 3 magic, but you don't really have to. Oh, never mind. You got riches all heck. So yeah, you can check all of the magic here. You're rich. Okay, so potentially getting punished for Fade here. Um, okay. Okay, you did slot your spells. I would be scared to do that. Like buying 2 level 3 black magic spells on my red mage without checking level 1 white, but or level 3 white, but that's okay. Okay, wood plus 5 is nice. I don't think the bucklers are worth it, but it's minor. I would buy at least 3 or 4 houses here. So picking up houses when they're cheap early in the game will save you a lot of time, especially if you're going to do a little bit of a grind, which is kind of it's pretty common in this. If you like check Earth early, or you're like in Volcano and you want to like take a quick grind and then warp out, buying 2 or 3 houses early can save you a ton of time. Also, when you're on the northern continent, it can be really helpful once you're in the air. So just picking up a couple houses early. Also note this white mage largely expendable at this point. So the reason the white mage has cure 4, but your red mage has life 2. Your knight will get life 2. You don't have fade. You have exit, but you have warp early too. So this white mage is only really contributing heal 3s and cure 4s at this point. It's not terrible, but you could very strongly consider 3 manning, like after Marsh Cave, for example. Or you could just put the white mage up for Marsh Cave and say, yep, you know what, I don't need you anymore. I disagree with checking the weapon shop. Your knight's not doing anything anyways. Okay, so this is good. I guess, so the reason you're doing this is because you want to check to make sure you had enough money before you bought items, I'm assuming. That makes sense. It's just slightly faster walk back from Magic to item shop. Or do the alternative route, which is to go up and around Elfland, check Magic, and then go to the item store. Now, that does run the risk of like, hey, there's a ship for sale in the item store or something like that, or more accurately, like an herb. So, there's downsides to both routing, but walking back from the front is slightly slower. Also, don't forget to use warp. Any questions so far? Things are going okay? Hopefully I'm giving you some of the insight you're looking for, but overall, like, this is totally fine. I'm nitpicking at this point. I think in general your play is pretty good. See, this is what I was thinking was going to happen. Is that, like, if you're going to go to Crescent Lake, you might as well navigate the river systems, especially with the 10 tents you had, right? Because if you think about it, you went all the ways around to Elfland, all the ways back to Crescent Lake, but Crescent Lake and Provoca aren't actually that far apart, if even with the river system navigation, if you can get through safely. So it would have been fast to go Provoca to Crescent Lake to Elfland to Marsh, instead of now you're going to go to Crescent Lake, and then you're going to be like, I had to go all the ways back to Marsh. So I think if you're going this way, you're committing to the Marsh first dive, and if you go this way, then you get Crescent Lake on the way. That is unfortunate. These pedes are not going to die. Oh god. Reset? Yeah. So I'm gonna. So let's see. This video is like 2 hours long. I think you. I seem to remember you did decent in this. You were like an hour and 40 or something like that, right? Um. So I think your fundamentals have obviously improved immensely. Um. Wall got you. um. Yeah, your fundamentals have obviously improved immensely, but there's still some improvements. And here I just think overall routing here could be improved quite a bit. Ooh, those gold bracelets are nice. So risk there. I would have checked the item magic first, or sorry, not item, the item store first, because if there's, once again, a floater for sale, you're gonna really regret buying that gold bracelet. But ooh, do you keep your white mage down? Ooh, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. Mm. Don't forget to warp and exit out of towns. Right? That's a long walk. You just lost like almost 15 seconds just walking there and back. And then don't forget to reset out of towns. Ah, you have warp though. Sorry, I said exit, but I meant warp. Warp's level 2. Yeah, yeah, no, it's all good. You probably are like, oh, I got rid of my exit caster. I don't have exit anymore. Good. Good decision to reset out. Yeah, so the ship, I swear, were you on rebroadcast with me? I feel like maybe you weren't. Maybe it was just like everyone else. No, I swear I did it I swear you were on rebroadcast. It was Chanagan, Shoombobby. I think maybe it was it you? Okay, you weren't restream. Okay, all my runners on stream also did that exact same play of checking the outside dock for the ship, and I was like, were you on my stream? Because all my runners did that, but I guess just like all ducklings universally did that. But good call, it is here. If it's an ice cave, it's in Provoca, so that's important to note. What are we doing? Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I don't mind this play. I think you have enough softs already too, so. So something I'm seeing overall is that compared to top runners, if you want to like compete with the best of your duck class, you're losing a lot of time on your encounter manipulation compared to them. So if you're looking for like where your next edge might be, I think encounter manipulation is something that you're going to have to start considering. Maybe you just didn't have save items yet, but like I've seen maybe 3 or 4 instances where you've just like walked like 5 steps and hit an encounter after you've saved and you haven't immediately reset. So even if you're not like mapping the entire encounter table in your head, which I think is a lot, you can start just being like, okay, if I get an encounter after 5 steps, I'm just going to soft reset, or yeah, soft reset and just try again. So just brute force your way through. I know people like Caleb, like they have never, they always exclusively just brute force their way through things. They don't even bother like hard resetting ever. So even that will save a bunch of time. Oh, this is what I was looking for on my restream, was someone to go turn the bloody ruby in earlier than like 30 minutes, because the ruby when you get it is just like a gigantic beacon when you have canal ship ruby. So I really like this play. I think you can dive marsh first if you want, but like with the canal, the odds of the floater being here are so high, and this is 2 incentive items compared to 1. Not only that, you also have the canoe dock to get back to marsh, right? So I would definitely be doing this ruby turn in exactly when you're doing it. So big, only really big time loss I've seen right now is just that navigation in the inner sea just took you way more time, right? Because you went all the ways this way and then all the ways back. Instead, if you had just gone this way, you would have just had one loop. Outside of that, it's just I think encounter manipulation is really the only thing. You didn't take all the fights I necessarily agreed with in the inner sea, but you took some at least, so you got some levels, which I think is huge on these slightly more difficult flag sets. You don't just get like levels from the sky, you actually need to earn them, which means you actually need to take some fights. Good, good, very nice. Yeah, so as we know from this Duck Derby, unfortunately, um, no luck for the Ruby play. Okay, so this is something you might have learned from me, going this way out and then checking Startup Force or saving and then coming back down. But this is only faster if you use Warp at the bottom here. If you walk out and then walk back down, I know you're getting a save, so you might have also been considering that, but like you need to be warping. Otherwise, you're just taking extra steps. If you're not going to use Warp, you might as well just walk down when you come and then walk up and out anyways. So yeah, so far, use Warp. Yes, you had Exit, and yes, you killed your Exit caster, but you have Warp. Warp is good. Warp is good. Yeah, I think you just like what I'm sure happened is like kind of the fancy play syndrome, which like is not a bad thing here, but you're like, oh, I killed my exit caster off. I don't have exit. Is probably the thought pattern that was going through your head, um, which is totally natural, but also obviously wrong when you have warp at level 2. I'll stop mentioning it. I think you just might have had a mental block. I'm just pointing it out in case, not immediately obvious. Okay, so this is a difficult decision. You have the rod, but you have incentive ordeals and incentive ice cave. Do you dive earth or not? I think the answer still is no. Maybe you get some levels in Earth 1 while you're here. I know a lot of runners who do that. But you have decent sweepers, you have warp, so like Ice Cave isn't terrible, and Ordeals is really not terrible, and you can kill most things in Ordeals. So I think Ordeals is a pretty good play here. You're level 9, level 10, 3-man party really helping here. So I think there's no problem with skipping Earth entirely and going to Ordeals. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I was just like going through the thought process here, and I think it's more around the spells you have. Earth, I would not be diving Earth 2 or Earth 3 or Earth 4 or Earth 5 with this no matter what. It's just, do I want to go to Earth 1 for spike tiles to get like up to level 12 or something? Just like sometimes you can do that in Crescent Lake 2 if peds aren't super, super annoying. Something that's kind of perhaps unique to, not unique, but like more common in this type of flag set compared to like ones with LOL EXP. Man, nasty. So one consistent gap I'm seeing is you're probably losing a minute, maybe 45 seconds throughout this whole seed just by walking out of towns instead of resetting out of them. So just make sure you're adding that to your to-do list. Beautiful. I love this ordeals play. So the checklist for ordeals here is, can I kill things? Do I have warp? Yes, yes, go to ordeals. Or, and if it's a stupid flag set, do I have the crown? Because for some reason that's required. Fire 3. Yep. Good. Really nice. You're playing well, Tetron. Tetron? Tetron? I apologize if I say it incorrectly. But I think in general you're playing very, very well. Okay. I think you're forgetting you have warp again. Because you definitely took an extra, definitely took an extra fight, an extra warp there. Um, Even if you don't have warp though, Ordeals isn't a bad play here. I would probably throw a cheeky quad X there, but it's not gonna probably work. Yep, good play. Yeah, like your experience curve is really nice here. You chose a good party. Your routing outside of the one exception has been good. I think encounter manipulation, town saving out of towns. Nice, and you cleared the whole chest there here before you equipped the massa. Really good. Good. Okay, loot. So obviously required, not required yet. So with this three-person party, one issue is you can't run very well. So yeah, you're probably going to want to be casting a spell on your red mage in a lot of fights while your black mage and your knight try and run. Or you can just like kill everything, but just, just a side note. Especially at the end of that dungeon, you're not really trying to conserve spells. Wizards just aren't worth a ton of EXP. But keep that in mind with this party. It's not going to be as good at running as some of the ones that you're used to. Okay, so we got the loot. I think pretty easy next play is to go to Ice Cave here. You have Warp after all. You now have the Massa. You have Fire 3. Hopefully you remember Warp by the time you get to Ice Cave. Ooh, a little bit lost. Oh, okay, yeah, Marsh is also a consideration. Yeah, this is fine. I forgot you hadn't gone to Marsh. Marsh is better, actually. This is the right play. What are buying gold bracelets? Gold bracelets were in Crescent Lake. Okay, race scenario. The difference between an iron armor and wood plus 5 is like barely worth it. So I wouldn't even be worried about optimizing for this here. It's good. Like I knew immediately that it's better, but like the optimization is just not worth it. Just your fighter has decent enough early game chest armor. Just go. Ooh, we're not going to Marsh. We are going to go to Ice Cave first, I guess. So here's the thought process behind going to Marsh before going to Ice Cave. If you go to Ice Cave, yeah, that makes sense. So here's the thought process behind going to Marsh before going to Ice Cave. If Ice Cave has the incentive or Marsh has the incentive, it's a 50-50, doesn't matter either way. But if neither of them has the incentive and there's a loose item required, you much rather have cleared Marsh before you have to clear Volcano, right? So if you cleared Marsh and then you went to Ice Cave, there's no incentive locations left. You know you're looking for a loose item. That leaves you Volcano and Earth, and you would rather dive Volcano than dive Earth. So if you go Marsh, Ice, Volcano, then you can go to Earth. Versus if you go Ice, do you do Volcano while you're there, or do you go to Marsh next? And that's a bad back and forth routing, right? So like, how do you draw straight lines as much as you can? And you're making that walk from Elfland to Marsh regardless, so there's actually no double backing. You're just like, it's either do that or do this whole other thing first and then come back. You're probably going to have to do Marsh. And once again, if it's in Marsh or Ice, it's a 50-50 either way. So it's like, what other impacts does it have? And it just so happens that Ice Cave is so co-located to Ice Cave is so co-located to Volcano that it's really hard to like skip Volcano after you've just done that. Oh god, these peats suck. But you now have Quad X and yeah, and Massa, so oh, these Quad X is not going to work, is it? Oh, never mind. Feats have between 273 and 300 HP, I guess. Are you taking this for chime money? Yeah, okay. Cool, that's fair. I like that. Don't forget about the free steps there, also resetting out of towns again. Yeah. I think the next major... Ooh. Volcano... What are you... Okay, how deep are you going to go in Volcano? So something to know with loose items is that you almost always still want to be clearing your like full clearing your incentive dungeons before you're going to fiend dungeons if there's no incentive item in there. Yes, you could find a loose here, but you're going to be better off clearing the incentives where you get something for sure. Especially Ice Cave with Warp. Maybe it's because you didn't think you had Warp, so you were trying to avoid Ice Cave. In which case, I think Marsh is more obvious. These are more like high level, but things to consider. This routing also, you want to be going through this other chest, the second door, because all those tiles are free essentially. You save a bunch of zigzagging here, and you can check that chest on the way. I think the only time you take this zigzag is if you want to check the these chests here. By the way, this is a perfect time for that warp and house strat that I was kind of talking about before. So after I open this box, what I would be doing is warping out and then housing up. And then hopefully using a long encounter. Okay, so you're doing the play, but just without warp, so that's fine. I don't mind this at all. Also, I really like how well prepared you are. Like you have your my emulator doesn't let me bind reset to a joypad button. Okay, so it's difficult for you to reset like out of town so easily, I guess. I know Cheesinator doesn't do it. Oh, mix encounter. I know Cheesinator is just pressing a keyboard button. So he just plays and then presses keyboard, plays and presses keyboard. I think it's like a spacebar or something like that. Okay, so your Volcano Armory routing is just not quite right. Um, so if you, so there's the right side and the left side, right? There's a couple different ways of doing it, but in general, if you're gonna do the hairpins, after you do the hairpins, it's actually faster to go along the top than it is to come back down, around, and up. So you can go there, come around, get the top left hairpin, and then if you want to avoid the encounter, you can actually go back around to dodge the spike tile, or you can just walk on the spike tile, walk across, and then go down to the armory. But I actually, my preferred way to do this is not to do this at all. It's to go through, get chest 1, chest 2, chest on the left, warp out, go through, get chest on the right, chest on the left, chest on the left, maybe warp out again, and then go do the armory itself. Just so that way I'm saving my levels, because like right now you're getting huge critical levels, right? Like your party was like level 12 or 13 when you came in, and if you got in 3-4 levels on this like pretty dangerous seafood party platter, um, so you really want to save these. So that's why I like to warp out, house up, get all my spell charges back, and then come back in. So here, so yeah, that other route, if you come along the top, I don't know, I hope you can see my mouse, but you can come this way. You can get the chest from this spot here, and then walk back around to dodge the spike tile if you know it's dangerous. Or if you want to take it, you can just walk this way, take the spike tile, open the chest, walk this chest, and then go down to the armory. So now your party's high enough level, by the way, that that running stuff I was talking about earlier um, doesn't matter so much. Now you can start to run a lot more. Remember, party level does make a difference on running. Quad X is probably the right play here. Dragons don't resist Quad X, they just have really high MDef. Okay, so we found the biggest red herring of all time. That's stupid. Adamant. Hey Septimus, how's it going? Oh yeah, I'm no problems at all. Um, this is Tetron's like I don't know if I know I've done at least one other one, but also Tetron just I guess he didn't quite graduate from the Duckling Derby, but he came pretty damn close. So This is definitely some more nitpicky, smaller things. What we've been covering so far is using warp a little bit, but also mostly just high-level routing. So one of the big decisions here was he kind of got left with marsh and ice as his two incentive locations remaining, as well as volcano and earth as places with chests that a loose item could be. And he decided to go to volcano first, whereas my argument would be to do ice first because he has warp, and then go back to volcano after you full cleared ice and determined that like ice doesn't have the floater. I also discussed about potentially doing Marsh first, so that way you clear both incentive items before you go to non-incentivized dungeons to clear loose chests, because you basically want to minimize the chance that you have to full clear a fiend dungeon loose item in loose item ones. Like clearing the incentive dungeons is almost always correct. So yeah, I appreciate you stopping in though. I haven't had we are the VOD reviews haven't been quite as popular live, but I know that they're still getting some clicks afterwards, and I'm hoping that they, once as more new ducks come in or the current batch of ducks continues to improve, um, we will have more people signing up for them and hanging out. Yeah, no, fun optimization problem for sure. Okay, this is one I actually learned from Cheese. Um, this step right here is not free. I hope you can see my mouse. So you actually want to walk down, right, and always straight up to the door, because the step in front of the door and the step after the door is free. So if you think about it, all doors in Volcano, you always want to be approaching from the bottom. Otherwise, to save a step. Man, those dragons just have no HP. Also, one note, oh no, you did save here. Okay, never mind. Yeah, and here once again, you can check this chest without taking a step. So if you walk to the left, check that chest, and then walk straight up this, and then straight back, that's going to be the minimum number of steps. So, even just in these little interactions, you've already taken 4 or 5 extra steps. Yeah, so far, you could have saved a huge amount of time if you remembered that you did indeed have warp. Yes, I'd say I'd estimate your warp time save to be upwards of 5 minutes, probably throughout the seed, if you add it all together. Especially if you're avoiding Ice Cave because you don't think you have warp. Now, I think a lot of runners full cleared Volcano anyways here because of where the key items ended up being, but just a note. Hey, you skipped the link chest. Very nice. So yeah, just lots of Volcano routing here though. Like you're taking extra steps all over the place. It's not that big of a deal, but it's something to definitely consider. Same thing there. You can actually no, I don't. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you can save a step by walking back along the bottom. So right, up, down, left, up, right. Here, once again, I'm sure you didn't remember that you had warp, but don't forget after clearing the red dragon chest, unless you really want to take the trap tile again, you almost always want to warp out. Warp is such a good spell, my goodness. Playing this game without warp is so much more painful. Yeah, so right here, after opening this box, you just warp, go back to the staircase. You don't have to fight this encounter again, and then you can just walk right back down. So, yeah, Volcano's a great dungeon, but it's one that has a lot of optimization possible in it. So, here, yep, fast is, I think, right. Uh, I would go with nuke, yep. Ooh, okay, I don't agree with Lock 2 on the scaling. The chances of carry having high enough avoid to matter are low. Also, um, your nuke is going to probably do a ton of damage at this point compared to your Masa. Actually, your Knight's really high leveled, but nuke is probably the preferred play. And then turn 2, you're probably going to want at least one person casting Quad X. Carry has, I believe the scaling here is up to 80 to 200%. I made these flags, I should know. But 80 to 200%, which means carry maxes out at 1200 HP. Your first turn, if you went nuke swing fast, is going to probably do about 600 to 900 damage, which means the quad X is somewhere between 50 to 60% to hit. So it's probably your best use of your red mage turn too. Of course, worst possible turn order there, other than carry going last, I guess. Yeah, see here, this is where quad X would probably kill carry. whereas Lit 3 and Ice 3 might not get the job done. So don't forget to throw in those cheeky quad X's. And they're not even cheeky, they're just legitimate plays. Yeah, 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 nice. I would quad X again here. If you kept track of your math, you've done 900 damage at this point. Carry's guaranteed to die to a quad X. So little optimizations there, but lower level, especially the earlier fiends, especially carry. Actually, carry is like the pinnacle of this, but like proper quad X usage can save lives. It requires quick math and keeping track of how much damage you've done, but okay, so you're not going to get punished this seed, but in general, clearing Volcano there before when you have two incentive, like full clearing Volcano there when you have two incentive dungeons left in the pool is not correct. I understand why you did it, especially without warp. Here I'm assuming you need spell charges, and this goes back way, way, way back to when we were in Elfland, and I said you saw cheap houses, buy 3 of them. This is like that exact reason, and buying those 3 houses I found can save a minute and a half throughout the run. If you count each time you have to travel to a town just to get magic charges, you know, they probably take 20, 30 seconds each, and in this case it's going to take way more than that. Ooh, that misstep definitely costing you a little bit. You need to include slower fights too. Oh yeah, 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 for sure. I was like even thinking like when you have the floater, the house is still costing you 30 seconds. You know, like when you're going from like ordeals with the floater to like Gaia or something. Never mind like when you have these slower fights. But yeah, no, 100% Septimus. Okay, so we're gonna go to Marsh next, or are we going to Ice Cave? Okay, don't go to Earth. Oh, okay, Adamant turn it. Okay, okay, okay. I buy it. I buy it. I buy it. Now, this makes logical sense, but I just want to point out once again that like your proximity routing has been very poor here. You've gone to Crescent Lake. Once you go back to clear Ice Cave, you'll have gone to Crescent Lake 3 different times and done Crescent Lake left, done, and then you went back and then you did Volcano and left, and then you're gonna have to come back again and do Ice Cave and leave. Like you're at the level where you can clear all of it. So you much much prefer to do all of it at once. And this comes back way way back to that high level strategic thinking, right? Of like if I clear Marsh first, then all of my incentive items are over there and I can go Crescent or Marsh to Ice Cave to Volcano and just be that entire area just done off the map. Yes, it removes some like perfect case situations, like for example if that adamant had turned into a floater, but you want to play for like in my opinion, this is personal preference, but I play for the like in all scenarios what averages out to the best case, right? And I believe that that would have been the case there. Because like yeah, I just want to point out like Provoca all the ways around Crescent Lake, all the ways back, Ordeals all the ways back, back to Elfland, back to Volcano, all the ways back to Marsh or to Adamant to Marsh, and now it's probably going to be all the ways back to Ice Cave. So like you've been traveling all over the entire map, which is actually making your um what is it called? Leak. That's the poker term, I guess. It's making your leak in counter manipulation even more prominent. Reset. Yeah, good. Of course, you could also warp, but you don't know you have warp, so reset is correct. Perfect. Yeah. But yeah, if I'm gonna take one takeaway here, obviously routing, but I think you need to learn encounter manipulation. I think you're there. I've been saying to new ducks for yep, that'll make sense. But see, those are like the compounding things that really can add up. Um, and that's why Final Fantasy Randomizer is such a hard game because like little things early can make big differences later, and it's only like when you like look at the cause and effect that you recognize those impacts. Like for example, you know why you know what would have been a much better use of those $1,200 that you spent on bucklers would definitely have been um, houses instead. But yeah, as I was saying, I think you're at the place. I always tell newer ducks don't worry too much about encounter manipulation, but I think you're at the stage where you need to start considering it at least a little bit. I don't think you don't need to encounter manipulate perfectly, but I think you need to add it into your repertoire. Um, Start of the table's not great in this seed. There's a long run, I believe. It's kind of hard to say because I'm not playing it, but I think after 3 encounters, there's a good run. Um, but even just soft resetting and like, or just knowing the first run long enough, and then just like going for the first run tent, going for the first run tent. Don't take this too long. So you're a 3-person party, and you might need to adjust your expectations a little bit here, but keep in mind you still have sea and sky to go through. Um, Now you're not going to take a ton of fights there because you're going to have no loose items. Oh, you don't know that yet, but you're going to have no loose items there. Um, but you still can expect to get 2 to 3 levels. Yeah, I think where you stopped is perfect. Really good EXP management. I just want to give you props for that. Like, I think the way that you've been managing this 3-person party when you decided to go down to 3 people, your levels throughout the various points of the game have all been excellent. I think it's been a little bit at the expense of proximity routing, but outside of that, like I think it's been really good. So like nice job making sure that you can get through dungeons when you're there and like getting the levels on the way. Big improvements there. Hey, you remembered you'd have warp. Good stuff. Nice. Very good. Okay, see, this is the really awkward situation I was talking about, where now you either need to go Ice Cave or Earth Cave. You're near Earth Cave, but you're gonna have to go to Ice Cave next. And this decision is because of the decisions you made a long time ago. Sorry, I'm hammering this home because there's honestly not that much else to talk about. You've been playing well at a fairly well at a macro level, so what are you? Oh, right, you just got the TNT. More disappointment. Or actually, no, more time loss, I guess. Yep, this is the right play. So yeah, you're 55. So when I was watching my runners on stream, I think they were in the air at roughly the 52 hour minute mark, which means you've lost. You're still probably losing 5 to 10 minutes on execution, and then also routing. So you definitely still have a little bit of a gap to make up in terms of just like execution and routing. And I think a lot of the execution mistakes, as I said, are encounter manipulation, and then routing is just thinking beyond the immediate next step and thinking like, what are the next 3 steps, which is obviously very difficult. But something that I think I'm seeing enough progress in your gameplay to start recommending, I guess. It's a compliment, I swear. It's the most underhanded compliment I've given in a while, but hey, look, you're good enough that now the area where you're bad, you need to improve on. I guess so. We are drinking a very nice tea today. I think it's a oolong silver tips. Okay. So keep in mind this is 1.5 times speed, and you know that heal pot buying and tent buying is taking, seconds, or like 10, probably close to 30 seconds. So just something to keep in mind that you need to speed up a little bit. The way that you do that is when you recognize it earlier, like when you're using heal pots and you recognize you're getting lower, you're using cabins, you make a mental note, not only do I need cabins, I also need this many. Cabins you very rarely need to go up to exactly 99. Excuse me, it's more like heal pots. And I'll just remember the first digit most of the time and just get up to 9x, because that's usually good enough. Okay, so Keylot Canaria is obviously correct, but you're there's still just the ice incentive just sitting there for you right now. And checking all of these before that is little bit questionable, especially when there's only one loose out there. Because keep in mind that loose could still be the power bonk at this point. Yes, it could still be the power bonk at this point, right? So you might not need any loose at all. This could have just been a all incentive seed, and taking the time to check in a loose item in these boxes, which is like 1 in 100 or something of it being loose, compared to just going to do the incentive location, which is 50-50 at this point to be your floater, is probably incorrect at a high level. Good, you're starting to yeah, same disagreement here. So you're doing Earth before Ice Cave. I guess you orphaned Ice. I don't know if you decided this was a gamble, but this is a huge gamble because there's two things. It could just be in Ice Cave in the incentive box. It also could be loose in Ice, and Ice has 1, 2, 4, 10, 15 chests in it, right? Meanwhile, Earth, all of Earth has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20, 23 chests, or roughly that. So, there's almost the same number of chests in ice, plus there's just like the 50-50 shot, the floaters just there in the first box. Um, so yeah, I think this is just not the right play. Your routing has led to ice being the proximity route, but the fact that you cleared volcano and earth before um, clearing ice is probably incorrect. Now, don't get me wrong, my entire routing would lead to me last locationing the floater in this particular seed, but I think of all the infinite seeds that are out there that started this way, uh, this is the 10% seed where it's loose in ice compared to the other 90% where it's either in marsh, in ice, loose in volcano. I've actually been meaning to just like run this flag set. Um, or run this particular seed and just like route my normal one, basically full clear the entire inner sea and see if I still get in the air before some of the ducks. I mean, obviously there's probably an execution advantage, but I just think that route is still going to be better, even though some people got it like here before they cleared Ice Cave. So you should be identifying that's your second loose. You have a ribbon, you have a masa. You should be done with boxes at this point. Now, unfortunately for you, there's the god. There's the god boxes up in the top right here, which have the defense sword and a ribbon. But eh, I think skipping it at this point is absolutely correct. Yeah, I think I was trying to avoid going to ice, so yeah. So that's valid, but keep in mind the only thing you need to find the floater, and it's either loose, which could be anywhere, including in ice, or it's in the incentive box in ice. So it's one thing to like do that for marsh, but when it's just the one loose item remaining, little bit sketchy. Yeah, and you're just in go mode. So really good identification here of the current state of the seed. You have no loose. You have all the gear you could ever need. We go fast now. So nice job on that. Honestly, I'm seeing so much improvement. Like, and this can be said for all of the ducks, but like, yeah, really, really good stuff. I hope you're happy with your improvement in the game. I like the cheeky box check. So we talked a lot about volcano routing. I did want to point out that with warp, checking the volcano armor or the earth armory is generally a pretty solid play with warp in particular. You just go up there and then you warp back. It's kind of like checking sky 3 or sky 1 with warp, where you just go left or right or up or right with warp. It's like a relatively similar number of chests. This routing is wrong, but I think it's because you got back blocked. Look up the route in. I think it's an initial setup, but or maybe it's on Dark Moon site. Good stuff. When you have Earth, Thank you. So if the floater is either in, yeah, this is really good numbers from Septimus. So if the floater is either in Incentive Ice or loose in Ice or Earth, Ice Cave has a 50% chance of having the floater, plus an additional whatever number of chests I said there were, times 0.65%, right? Okay, okay, good. So hopefully I've given you plenty to focus on. I think routing, big time routing, and encounter manipulation will be like great for you. So yeah, definitely places to improve. So yeah, so like just to go into Septimus's math a little bit here. So each particular chest has a 1.3% chance, um, including all the key locks, right? Earth or Ice Cave has an additional 50% chance just because it has an incentive box, right? With two incentives out there, which means Ice Cave has over a 60% chance to have your floater, either loose or in the incentive box. Elflin had a 2.6% chance of having a required loose. Okay. Sorry, he might have already done the math. But Elflin has like a 5% chance. The other key locks have a X% chance, and Earth was maybe a 30% chance there. Warp. Use warp. You remember you have warp again. But okay, so positives here. You have excellent levels. You're in go mode. Well, not. Are you actually in go mode? You need the Oxyale, which is in waterfall. No. It's the shop. No, you bought the shop item. What incentive look? Oh, you still haven't done Ice Cave. The Oxyale's in ice, so you have Ice or Waterfall at this point to choose between. Um, but you just need the incentive items. Okay. Yeah. Point still stands. Ice Cave was over 60%. Um, Anyway, so at this point you have Ice Cave, Waterfall without the Oxyale, and you have Warp. So the clear routing play here is Ice Cave, just get the incentive item. If it's not there, then you do Waterfall, which is guaranteed to have the Oxyale, and then you go to On Rack or Sky, depending on your preference. So let's see what you do. Nope. Where are we going? Oh, are you going to promote? Okay, promotion is also totally fine. I would do Ice Cave first, but promotion is also okay. Good. Don't open boxes. Don't. Why are we opening boxes? You just told me that you were in go mode because you didn't open any boxes in the rest of Earth. If you're not going to open any boxes in the rest of Earth, you might as well check the Earth Armory rather than coming to Cardia. Now, I remember that some of the runners did have this exact scenario where they were looking for better. Well, okay, yeah, maybe. But you're done with boxes anyways, so I do like that you like exclusively checked the most prominent, like the biggest Cardia. So that's fair. But like, what do you need, right? You have, I guess, armor, but there's gold bracelet +1 for sale. You have a ribbon, you have a masa. You're in pretty good shape. Fair enough, fair enough. Better fighter armor. Gold bracelet +1 is pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. I like that you had a plan though. Like you were like, I'm hoping for better fighter armor. You got better fighter armor. That's fine. I think my disagreement is more personal than it is like this is strictly incorrect. So that's I have no problem with. Now going to waterfall here is strictly incorrect. I would argue, maybe not strictly, but you don't have the Oxale, so you want to once again tie waterfall to on rack, right? But Ice Cave could have the Oxyale, so you want to go to Ice Cave first here. Do these kind of like high level strategic routing decisions make sense? I hope so. It's kind of like tying locations together, determining where the incentives are, and then also how they interact with each other. It's a little bit higher level. It's not like, oh, so big brain complicated. I think it's just like important to recognize how the locations kind of interact with each other. Oh, I love this play. This is really, really good. I really like this. Go buy life too. Yeah, this I learned from watching Crab Cakes. Crab Cakes, after she promoted, she just like beelined and bought all her spells. And I just like took a note because it was totally out of the way. But she's like, I have a knight who can learn life 2. I'm going to get a knight that has life 2. And she just like did it. And that's something I picked up from watching her, and I've done it to this day. So I really like this. I think promotion after, especially with your party already so high level, promotion before Ice Cape makes a lot of sense. So this is excellent. Good, good, good. So you should be looking at approximately like a hour 30 time here if you're go moding the last 3 dungeons. We'll see what you end up doing. Because your levels are good, your gear is good. This is the Oxyale. Then you just need to go clear um, Sky and Sea in go mode. So, and I believe an hour 30 would have put you like in, I don't know, like top 10. No, it's not speedruns live anymore. Duck Derby Winter 2021. Yeah, if you were an hour 30, you would have been in fourth place. Yes, Septimus is right. Yeah, Rock Solid was one of the runners on my stream, and he forgot to buy um, life um, on his knight, and it probably cost him like 15 minutes because he was past the massive Kraken gatekeeper there. He was on Tia, and his knight didn't have life. It was so tragic. So yeah, but yeah, like at this point, you're on pace for like a roughly hour 20, hour 22 Topher entrance, maybe a little bit slower than that, depending on your encounters and your running and all that, and how many fights you take and your execution. But like you could be finishing in the hour 30s here, and that would be, even if you were hour 40, it's still a top 12 finish. And I think you're really well like positioned for it. So not rub, lock, lock. Okay, cool. And that's with all the encounter manipulation, all the routing errors that I've talked about. Now, once again, you're fighting against one of the best duck classes we've ever had, but there's still a duck class, not, you know, Thunder. But, still, that's really, really good, and that's a sign of the improvement here. I would punch that with your knight, but that's fine. Like, Gersharts and Nagas in this dungeon, I'd be punching with your knight because you really want your knight to hit level 24, right? Before Temple of Fiends Revisited. You're close, but you still need to take a few fights. Because I believe your knight's like level 22 right now? 21, yeah. So I would be punching single things. I would potentially be taking down large party packs with Lit 3. Not Waters. Oh, I guess if your knight's done, sure. I believe they're weak to Ice 3. I know that like farming Waters with Ice 3 is a really good thing if you find them early, especially like if they're on a trap tile. So Ice 3 is definitely the play there, but that's more niche knowledge, just putting it out there. Yeah, free chests are fine. Like this pack I might consider taking as well, but the amount of hesitation on your menuing though has gone way down, so that's really good. This Topher, yeah, takes about 9 minutes, and yeah, so maybe an hour 30 is slightly optimistic, but yeah, Ice 3 on stuff this week too is money. Notable are Waters, Nightmares, what else? Trying to just think off the top of my head is hard. Oh, also, now that your Knight's level 24, I would probably be bringing your White Mage back up. Um, oh, I would not be checking this chest either. You're in Go mode. You just got your second ribbon. You had Knight has life. Oh, of course, Agamas, the Paralisks. Oh, Chimeras? So yeah, this is something that I would just want to discuss on a three-man comp. Your knight's at the target level. Your red mage is pretty close to 400 HP. I would be considering bringing your white mage back up now, just to get a few levels before Temple of Fiends revisited, just so it can survive like a lit 3 or something like that. Just so you have that extra life caster, or someone to take a punch if Kraken opens up with lit 3. It's still the white mage is still in the first slot to take a punch. I don't like leaving the knight in the first slot here. Your armor's not that good, and your knight's your win condition. Okay, looks like you're fine, but I would be moving my black mage to the top. Because if you get turn order punch here, it could be real bad. Don't don't disrespect Kraken. Okay. Wait. Oh, I was just about to skip to when you're in Sky, but what are we doing? Why are we going into Gaia? What are we looking for? Pro rings? You have 2 ribbons. Pro rings aren't nearly as important. Are we missing? Oh, we're missing temper, aren't we? Right, right. This is the seed where temper is super high level. Okay, okay, okay. I don't mind this. This is fair. You don't have the power bonk either because it's in waterfall. So okay, okay, okay. That's fair. That's fair. And your black mage is also high enough level to actually cast it. So all things considered, that's not terrible. Nope, that's fine. I like that you had an idea of why you were going there. Like you check black magic, you check black magic level 8. So that's showing thinking. So I'm big fan. I guess my hour 20 Topher entrance time was a little bit optimistic. But like Sky really does not take that long. 128 Topher entrance is when you ended up entering at? Okay. I can see some of the time loss I wasn't considering, but like there's also just some execution, I think. Oh, I like see you're even bringing the white mage up here. Very nice. That black shirt is probably worth equipping on your black mage instead of the gold bracelet +1. It has slightly less defense, but the elemental resistance is worthwhile. No, no, no. This is perfect. You want to bring this white mage up so it can survive like a spell, because the rest of your party's already high enough level. I guess it would be nice if your life caster had a bit more, but remember your knight has life. This just isn't worth it though. It's okay. Like at this point, you're probably still not wanting to try and get levels for your white mage. It's just you bring it up just in case you fight something on the way and your white mage just happens to get some levels from like unrunnables. or eyes that are just sitting there waiting to be punched. Still, really nice usage of the 3-man strat. I gotta give you props. Chimera is Ice 3. Not actually, just like this is the right play to punch it, but also another thing that's weak to ice. How many greed boxes we opening? None. I like it. So, not opening those greed boxes, but opening the one behind the trap tile in C is almost certainly incorrect unless there's better trap tiles on. Like that box in C takes forever. Through 2 trap tiles. So slow. So you're probably better off skipping. Small menu optimization is you can use items on your casters instead of punching with them to save a little bit of time if your menuing is fast enough. But once that is the level optimization, I don't think you need to worry about yet. I think the routing and encounter manipulating more so. Okay, swing, fast. This should probably just be swing, nuke, swing, nuke, wait, or something like that at this point. But hey, quad X. Nice cheeky quad X usage. Yeah, no, that was all good. That was all good. I have no problems at all with that boss. That was good. Sometimes there's like what I would do because like in my like snap judgment, but then there's nothing at all wrong with like what your decision was. So 128. Pretty solid overall. I've got to get my cat some food in a second here, but we can do that after this run is over. Okay, let's go bang our head against the Kraken wall. You are very well prepared. So you have the tools to deal with this Temple of Fiends Revisited, but RNG can happen and bad strats can happen. So let's see what happens to you. I'm going to speed this up until we get to the boss fights. Good. If you're not ready for Topher before you're in Topher, you're not ready for Topher. Yes, yes, cat. I'll get you some food in a second. I know you're hungry. Yes, those boxes are free, but you don't need anything. Don't open them. I'm trying to tell you how to beat me, and if you're racing me, I'm not opening those boxes. So if you're opening those boxes, you better have some other advantage. Yeah, you're well prepared. Like, oh, nice, good switch from the black shirt. So the black shirt resists time and ice, so that's why it's assault. That was rude. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's some spicy stuff, especially for how often you saw them in like Ice Cave and they didn't nuke you. Uh, I think the knight has 4 casts, right? Yeah. Oh, actually, no, no, no. What probably the right play there is to use the life 2 on the red mage and then use the white mage's life 2 on the black mage. But if the knight has 4 casts, it's not nearly as important. If the knight has like 2 casts, you need to be like hold those dear, dear, dear to your heart. But realistically, the knight's life 2 almost always just comes up against Kraken and TS, so as long as you have 2 casts left, it's okay. Yeah, I agree with all these plays. Yeah, white shirt here is good. Okay, cool. Like, as long as you're thinking it. I like the quad X. This isn't going to work, though, I don't think. Oh, no, it does. Nice. So you are using quad X really well, by the way. I was talking about this earlier. Um, but, like, you've actually done it, like, perfectly on follow-up bosses, just not on that carry fight, so this is cool. I think the carry one, you just overestimated how much HP she had. Okay. What? Don't do it. Oh no. Okay, so this is definitely incorrect if you just went into Kraken with the knight in the first slot. Kraken can one punch 42 black belts. Kraken can absolutely one punch your knight here. Your white mage is fully expendable, so your white mage 100% should be going into slot 1. Not only that, your knight is your life caster. Um, Now, if you're worried about getting evasion stacks up, maybe you just move the white shirt, but you can still put the white mage in slot 1. But I don't think evasion stacking is the play against Kraken at 80 to 200% HP. I think speed and power is. So turn 1 is probably white shirt out of your white mage, fast out of your red mage or black mage, or probably fast out of your red mage, nuke out of your black mage, swing out of your knight. Oh, okay, so there was an encounter before, but let's see, are you switching? Okay, healing, good. Switching, party order, party order, party order. Okay, cool. Awesome, okay. Okay, so fasting your red mage, so you're gonna get punished for this. Mm, hmm. Fasting your red mage, you just got punished pretty hard. So your red mage, even with the Vorpal, is going to do a ton less damage than your knight. Now, of course, if you had done exactly what I said, I would have gotten lucky, but that's kind of untrue. I guess the argument is fast on your red mage and fast on your knight is more worthwhile. Hmm. Okay, well, let's see how it plays out. Yeah, so now you have to fast your knight. Bane's a free turn. Yep, I agree with that. Okay, so now you need to fast him again. Wait. I think slow 2 hit your knight there, didn't it? So fast heal 3 is also okay, I guess, but keep in mind your knight's not fasted anymore. Oh, you get through Kraken. Wow. Okay, so I think fast on your red mage is wrong. But for the most part, otherwise, I think that was all pretty cool. If you had noticed that um, slow 2 had gone off your knight, you maybe could have fasted with your red mage. But overall, I think that was a really solid fight strategy, and you got rewarded. So many runners wiped on that Kraken. So many runners. And this is a testament to prep as well as your prep as well as your play there. So I think like honestly, really, really, really good. Unfortunate. You keep getting pretty bad turn order. You never get your lights off. Or sorry, your invis shirts off. Yeah, nuke's the right play. That's fair. Nice. Way to live. Die. Turn order. Oh man. Okay. So honestly, I think that was okay. A little bit unlucky, perhaps. Your strategy was good. I think the only thing I would be removing from your strategic options here is that fast on your Vorpal Red Mage. It's just not doing anything, right? If you're casting Lock 2 instead with your Red Mage, maybe a little bit better at this scaling. Outside of that, the other option might have been to move the White Shirt from your White Mage, assuming the White Mage is just going to die right away, and have your Red Mage casting it instead. That's something I was debating about on Kraken as well. Just Power Cycle, good. But, it happens. I don't think that was played that badly. This was a outlier Temple of Fiends revisited. Okay. Sorry, the cat is being dealt with. Um I don't know if you can hear my cat being very, very, very pathetic over wet food. So, what adjustments do you make now that you know that Kraken has turn one nuke? Is the question that I'm asking. So, what were you thinking at this point with Kraken having turn one nuke? Is there any adjustments that you're going to make? You also know that Kraken has relatively low HP. I believe Kraken and Deceit had like just over vanilla HP or vanilla HP. That's better turn order. Also, your three-person party is a large part of the reason why you're able to like have a little bit more success against this Temple of Fiends Revisited compared to other duck ducklings, because your knight has those extra levels, which means they're doing extra damage with that massa. Not only that, you have casts of temper, you have red mage with HP, so three-person party decision hours ago, um, making a big difference an hour and 40 minutes into the seed. And this is like the type of thing that I don't try and explain to new players, but I think about a lot when I'm talking to new players and they're saying that RNG got them or bad luck or, you know, this one decision way later, but a lot of the time it starts way earlier. Interesting. So your transition is to keep your knight in the first slot. I agree with those plays. Oh god. Come on, knight. Nice. Once again, 3 manning paying off huge. Your knight did extra damage, survived enough to yeah, just good stuff. And also nice usage of life 2s on your white mage. Keeping your knight in slot 1 there was a little bit sketchy. I still think your white mage is more expendable. If you're worried about your white shirt charges, remember you can just move it um, to the red mage. Yeah, I agree. The Tia fight on the first dive was pretty bad luck. The only thing that maybe you can adjust here is having your Invis 2 cast, like the white shirt, on another character. Because Tia is primarily a melee threat, which means you need to get your Invis charges off, which means you want your white shirt on the red mage. Yeah, no, I think you made the right adjustments, except for maybe this. Because here's the thing: if you get punched again, which is the most likely thing to occur, and your white mage dies, you're turns away from dying to punching. So just you don't have Invis 2 outside of the white shirt. So putting your white shirt caster when melee is the primary scary thing here in the slot 1 to not get turn order is not great. Nice crit. Like here, you're still 2 turns away from dying. So you almost died the exact same way that you died the first time, except the change there was that your black mage got to live a little bit longer, could get a temper off, which was a really nice adjustment. Yeah. That's exactly the right adjustment to make, is spending one of your 2 tempers on the knight. That was good, but I think you should have been moving the white shirt to your red mage there, because Tia had a lot of absorb, but more than anything, Tia had a lot of punching power, and like 2 white shirt charges would have made that fight so much safer, especially when your knight and your red mage both have heal 3. Save that, yeah. Good, nice prioritization. Like if you had Invis 2, obviously moving the white shirt around is not so important, but like you needed white shirt charges there, most likely, and you didn't get them again. Using the temper was a really nice adjustment though, because the temper meant that you killed Tiamat like 2 turns earlier than last time, which is why your knight didn't get punched down. Same thing here. Invis 2 is the most important thing that you can get off here. If you don't get up to max evade, this could go really bad, and your white mage is the most likely person to die, right? You don't have defense on your knight, so your shirt probably wants to be on your red mage here. Also, Invis 1, a legitimate pickup for exactly situations like this. Like Invis 1 on your red mage here would have been a huge deal just to like buff up your knight. Okay, you're Tia's being very kind. Or sorry, Chaos is being very kind. If you get 3 turns with your whole party up, you should win 90% of Chaos's. Um, Still, like your decision making overall is good. Like what I'm talking about is just like a few extra percentage points on like what can go happen in the worst case scenario rather than like in the best case scenario. Because I think in 90% of Tophers, exactly what you did on your first dive would have succeeded. I think here just recognizing that you have trouble getting up to maximum evade is important, and therefore prioritizing how can I do that in a bad case scenario. Just probably the thought process that needs to be going through your head. But that is not a beginner strategy by any stretch. It's much more intermediate. Or not, sorry, even advanced. It's not even intermediate. It's like higher level thinking. Chaos fight, really, really clean. GG's. Yeah, well, massive improvements from, the first couple times I've seen you play, and like I know that was a while ago, but like really, really good stuff. Um, I guess in summary, we've kind of talked about it throughout, but just to summarize, learning counter manipulation, I think now is the time. Work on your routing, especially your high level like strategic routing, like not only where am I going immediately next, but where am I going after that, and how does the locations of them play into effect. And it matters way more when you're using the ship or the canoe as opposed to the floater. The floater proximity routing is not nearly as important because the amount of time it takes is much lower. But when you're not encounter manipulating and you're on the canoe or the ship, proximity routing becomes more important. Using warp and resetting out of towns are little tiny optimizations that you can continue to work towards. Really good use of 3-man parties, good time to bring things up. Topher strategies I think were really good, except for not considering that you don't have defense or invis 2 or invis, which means your only evasion caster is your white mage if it's wearing the white shirt. So consider removing the white shirt from your white mage because, to be honest, the defense isn't doing anything for it anyways. It dies to one punch. And moving it on to someone more likely to survive past round 1, especially when you're moving your white mage into the sacrificial position, which was the correct play. Yeah, GG's. Hopefully this gives you some stuff to think about. Oh, we also talked about volcano routing. So if you want to go back and look at that, you can remember. But always go up through the doors. We talked about how you can warp out of the right side of the volcano, the hairpins, to like save levels and save steps, especially if there's a long run at the beginning of the encounter table. And we also talked about going up and around to get the chest without getting the spike tile.